Hey guys, welcome to Dude, It's David. Today I'm sharing with you guys the 10 worst natural disasters in US history. Starting with number 10, we have Hurricane Katrina, which happened in 2005. It hit New Orleans really hard, over 1 million people were displaced and over 1,800 people died. When we went to New Orleans, we drove to the lower 9th ward, which is the place that got hit the hardest. The lower 9th ward is a neighborhood that's below sea level, and we saw a lot of houses that got flattened, and some of them had been rebuilt. Number 9 is the PESHTIGO fire. The fire killed between 1,500 and 2,500 people and burned over 1 million acres. It happened in 1871 and it was burning the forests in Wisconsin and Michigan. Next is the CHENIERE hurricane of 1893. CHENIERE was a really popular place to live off the coast of Louisiana. It's an island and over half the population was wiped out during the hurricane. A lot of boats sank and a lot of farms were destroyed. The storm surge from the hurricane was 16 feet. That means the ocean came up 16 feet. Number 7 is the Johnstown flood of 1889. This flood was caused by a dam in Pennsylvania that started to leak and eventually broke all the way. The water was traveling at 45 miles an hour and it was producing waves as tall as 65 feet. When the dam broke, it unleashed 3.8 billion gallons of water. There was so much debris from this flood, it took years to clean up. Fortunately, people from all around the world were donating money to help. Number 6 is the OKEECHOBEE hurricane of 1928. The winds were over 145 miles an hour and 15,000 people became homeless. Lots of crops were destroyed and lots of homes were carried right off their foundations. Oh, and in case you guys were wondering where that hurricane was, it was in Florida. Big surprise, right? Number 5 is Hurricane Maria, which happened in 2017. This actually happened more in the US territories than the US states. It hit the US Virgin Islands and it hit Puerto Rico really hard. Over 2,600 people in Puerto Rico died because the medical response wasn't fast enough. The tail of the hurricane also hit North Carolina and it caused billions of dollars worth of damage. Hurricane Maria was the third most expensive natural disaster in US history. Number 4 is the Great San Francisco Earthquake of 1906. This earthquake measured 7.9 on the Richter scale and it destroyed 80% of the whole city. Over 200,000 people were left homeless and over 3,000 people died. Most of the damage actually came from fires that raged on for days. They had to bring in the US Army because there was so much rioting and looting and people had to be fed. Number 3 is the San hurricane of 1899. Like one of the other hurricanes I mentioned, this one's in the Caribbean and also hit North Carolina. Once again, this one hit Puerto Rico the hardest. 250,000 people didn't have food and 3,000 people died. This was the longest lasting hurricane. It lasted over a month and the total death toll was about 4,000. They had 23 inches of rain in 24 hours. Now on to number 2, the second deadliest natural disaster in US history, the heat wave of 1936. It set record temperatures that haven't been broken in 13 states. That's crazy because that's 85 years ago and none of those states have gotten that hot again. Almost 5,000 people died and the elderly people had it the worst because air conditioning didn't really exist back then. Now what you've all been waiting for, the number 1 deadliest natural disaster in US history. The Galveston hurricane in 1900. You might not know this, but Galveston is an island near Houston, Texas. Back then, it was a really popular place to live. A lot of rich people and movie stars lived there. The hurricane killed between 6,000 and 12,000 people, which is 1/4 of the island's population. They had a lot of storms over there, so everybody just thought it was just another regular storm, but little did they know it was going to be the worst storm in US history. People didn't really evacuate because there was no hurricane warning system back then. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and let me know if you know somebody that's been in a natural disaster. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye!